introduce Drew Thomas. Drew and I have known each other for a couple of years, and we had a good sit down with Dr. Schlegel in Indianapolis, and we talked about a number of cross programs. But one of those things I asked you to do was come visit us. And as you're going to see, this idea of the University Nuclear Leadership Program sounds interesting, but basically almost all interactions on the university side, whether it be education, scholarships, fellowships, or research grants and other programs is kind of under his purview. And so we were very happy to have him come and get to know us a lot better. And I'm sure we will be continuing the relationship going forward. But anyway, you're more interested in hearing what he has to say about things pertinent to you than you are interested to be rambling on about what we're trying to do. So I'm going to go ahead now and turn it over to Drew.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Newkirk. For those who knows about the University Nuclear Leadership Program? Does anybody? Okay, we got one hand. That's usually what we get. So I like not seeing the hands because that means this is going to be new to you. As Dr. Newkirk said, my name is not Julie. It's actually Drew. But Julie is the one that runs our student programs, and so I'm giving this presentation on her behalf. And so this program is something that's really near and dear to the university program and to the Department of Energy Office of Nuclear Energy. This is the program that funds all of our student support, our scholarships and fellowships. And so I'm hoping what you can take away from this presentation today is that you need to put in an application and you need to start working on it today. And I'm happy to answer any questions about what your interests are, what the nuclear energy landscape looks like, or otherwise, if you have any questions about that. As was mentioned, I run the Office of Nuclear Energy's university program, and that includes the research and development grants, infrastructure, and talking about student support. I have some flyers and other stuff that are on that desk right in the middle there, including my card and the card of Julie Jacobson and Tyler Newitt, who run these programs, if you have any questions. So please, and a little, I think we have some screen, if you're a nerd like me and have glasses, some glasses wipers or screen cleaners, those types of things. So yeah, so feel free to grab some of that stuff if you want it, and we're always happy to send some more stuff if you need it. So to give you an overview of what the UNLP program is, it's a program that was created as part of the 2009 Joint Omnibus Appropriations Act, and it's a joint effort between DOE Office of Nuclear Energy, the NNSA, and the NRC to provide student support. The true purpose of this program is to develop all of you as next generation scientists and engineers in the nuclear energy space. The Office of Nuclear Energy does this program by offering individual scholarships and fellowships. Missouri S&T is one of those universities that has been approved because of your nuclear engineering program to be a member institution of this program. And so you as students can go onto our website, which is nup.gov, and apply to this program today for scholarship support next year. The NRC and NNSA have other programs that are also nuclear focused. And there are opportunities here, I think, at Missouri S&T for the NRC scholarships and fellowships. And NNSA does a multi-university consortia, which is just a different model for giving out this funding. So the purpose is to attract the best and the brightest students to the nuclear professions. And that could be a variety of different areas, but the idea is that it's focused on fission, nuclear power generation. And the idea here is that we're trying to enhance research capabilities at U.S. universities, and we're also trying to build you up, all of you up, as the next generation nuclear energy workforce. There's a huge demand. There's a recent report out of DOE that came out that over the next 50 years, the nuclear industry will grow by over 350,000 jobs. And that is something that's an important aspect of what we're doing now. We have to prepare now for what that eventuality will be. And that's why I'm here to talk to all of you. You are that future, and this program's here to support that vision. So let's talk about a little bit about specifics about what the scholarship and fellowship program is. This university funding opportunity is something that Missouri S&T and your faculty have already processed through. So this university is already established as a UNLP approved university, and that means you're all eligible to apply. Scholarships are available for undergraduate students, and fellowships are available for graduate students. Those opportunities are often communicated through a mailing list that we maintain. So there's a QR code to get on that mailing list if you aren't on that mailing list already for students. And we also have some website postings as these come out. I'm here today because this scholarship and fellowship opportunity is open right now. And so I'm hoping, with some convincing, you'll all go onto the website, see what it takes, start working with your faculty to get some scholarship and fellowship applications in. We award typically up to 70 scholarships and around 30 fellowships each year. That's around $6 million. The budget looks like it's going to be more like $6.5 million this next year. And applications are due, most importantly, on January 16th, 2024. So you guys all have the rest of the semester here to prepare your applications before you submit them. If you have any questions as we go, please raise your hand, and I'm happy to answer them. I want to go over what the scholarship opportunity is, and then for those of you who are seniors and considering graduate school, what the graduate fellowship opportunity might be. So the scholarships are $10,000 a year. Students can apply after their first semester has been completed as a freshman. So you can start getting the award as a sophomore, and then you can apply each year that you're an undergraduate, meaning that you could potentially get this award 3 to 4 times if you applied every year. The fellowship is $169,000 over 3 years. This is for graduate students. And this year we're opening up an optional exchange with the United Kingdom, where we'll be going to the United Kingdom for a week and a half in the summer of 2025 to tour University of Sheffield, University of Manchester, the National Nuclear Laboratory there, and UK graduate students will be doing the same here in the States. For requirements, you have to be a US citizen or legal permanent resident. You have to be beyond your first year in college for scholarships only. That means that we need your fall transcripts from your freshman year if you're freshmen. You have to be enrolled in the UNLP approved college or university. You're already there. Field of study needs to be of interest to nuclear energy, and what the NE means nuclear energy. I want to be clear that that doesn't mean just nuclear engineering. It could be a degree that you're seeking in physics, chemical engineering, material science, mechanical engineering, but you have a nuclear focus, right? Whether your research is nuclear focused or your end career goals are nuclear focused. All of those fields of study are of interest to this specific program. If you're looking for a scholarship as undergraduate, you have to have a minimum GPA of 3.0 or higher. And if you're applying to the graduate fellowship, you have to have had a 3.25 GPA as an undergraduate and a minimum of a 3.5 GPA at the graduate level for your graduate level work. I'm going to skip this one since you guys are all enrolled at Missouri S&T. This is a portion of the program that's focused on 2-year trade schools and community colleges. I was recently up in Lynn at State Tech promoting this program yesterday, but I don't think you'll be interested in that. So what do you need to apply for this program? The scholarship has 3 major components. The personal career goals essay, which is a 1 to 2 page essay that describes what your eventual career goals are. So what we're interested in for this is If you're a nuclear engineer, it should be pretty clear you probably want to go and do something in the nuclear engineering space. If you're not, then the question that really gets asked here is, what are your career goals as a mechanical engineer, as a material scientist? Do they tie into the nuclear space or don't they? And so as you write that personal career goals essay, what we're really looking for is, you may not have everything formulated in your mind, right? You may think, hey, I want to explore graduate degrees in these areas, or I eventually want to do this. But the idea would be that you can articulate some plan that you might have after you graduate school in that personal career goal essay. It requires 3 letters of reference, and I would recommend that if you have letters of reference written, that you focus on trying to find faculty, or maybe you've done an internship and you have an internship advisor to write these reference letters. What we're looking for with these reference letters is, does the individual writing the letter understand what your capacity might be in being successful in your coursework, successful as a researcher, or successful as an academic? And so from those standpoints, we typically recommend that you reach out to your faculty that you've taken classes from. If you've done any type of research work as an undergraduate, that would be an option as well. And then finally, unofficial academic transcripts, and these will include your fall grade. So this is why the application is due on January 16th rather than December 16th, is we want you to complete your fall semester, have those grades in hand, and submit those as part of your transcripts. They can be unofficial, so it shouldn't cost you a penny. Just go onto the portal while you look at your grades, print a copy of that, upload it to the website. For fellowships, it's a little bit more complicated because there's, you're really looking for doing actual more concrete research as you go forward to your fellowship and to your graduate school course of study. So once again, there's the personal career goal essay, but there's also a proposed graduate research essay, and this should be developed in tandem with your research advisor that you're looking to work with. This will be your idea for what you're going to do for your graduate research. And as a graduate student, I will tell you, and all of the faculty who have all been through graduate school can tell you this as well, this is a unique opportunity because you get to write your research plan as part of this application and submit it. Typically, when you go to graduate school, you work with an advising professor. They're working on certain research projects, and you try to align where the money is to be able to pay for your graduate researchship, your graduate research assistantship with the research that's available at the university. And so this is a unique opportunity where if you're a UNLP fellow, you get to define that space with the support of a faculty member, and that research is paid for through the UNLP fellowship rather than through a research grant or some other mechanism through the university. There is a request for a leadership summary, which is like a CV or a resume. The idea is what kind of leadership activities have you participated in? How have you been active as a volunteer, as a researcher within the nuclear community at your college or university, to summarize that. Once again, 3 letters of reference and unofficial academic transcripts. Those transcripts should be for both your undergraduate and your graduate work. Once again, can be unofficial, so they shouldn't cost you a penny. There's a couple of additional things. Who, by the way, is looking at going to graduate school for this type of a program? Is anybody currently in that space? Should I gloss over this a little bit? I'll be quick then, since it sounds like this may be of less interest. But the fellowship also has a required 10-week minimum DOE National Laboratory internship associated with it. The idea is to try to tie you into the current DOE research that is going on at the National Lab System, and there's an allowance of $7,000 to offset the cost of that internship.
How is the requirement in course? I mean, you apply, but if you're not selected, what do you do?
Yeah, when you talk about for an internship, if you apply, Those internships are usually coordinated outside of like a internship application process. So
Once you get one, the internship is pretty much guaranteed.
you'll find an opportunity with your advisor, and that's coordinated through our office if you can't find one by yourself, right? And so yeah, but there's lots of opportunities at Oak Ridge, Argonne, INL. It's very few situations where a UNLP fellow hasn't been able to get an internship in that way and needs to help coordinating it. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a 169K.
Yep.
3 years. Starting PhD students may not be able to finish in 3 years.
Yep.
Is it okay that somebody who's already in PhD program applies and finishes up his PhD in 1 or 2 years and make use of it?
Yeah, so this is for first or second year PhD students. So recognizing that, if you're a second year PhD student, there may still be a gap there. But what happens is, from a functional standpoint, the funding is used over 3 years, and as if you do internships in the summer or defray those costs in some way, you can roll that over into a 4th year.
There is
So.
no way that in between PhD program apply for it.
No, yeah, this is intended for first or second year PhD students only. So. All right, so when you're looking at the review process of what are you going to be judged on if you apply for a scholarship, these 2 bullets at the beginning are really what you'll be judged on from a scholarship standpoint. How is your chosen course of study? And how do your career goals align with the Office of Nuclear Energy mission? That mission is maintaining the operation of existing reactors, developing new reactors, and sustaining and enhancing the nuclear fuel cycle. Those are really the 3 tenets of the NE mission, quite broad. So that's going to be your personal career goal essays and your reference letters, right? To talk about how your course of study and your career goals are going to support that that mission. And then the second one is, how qualified is the student to complete the proposed course of study? And that's really focused on your reference letters. It's really a judgment by the folks that you go and get for your reference letters about how successful they think you might be in that course of study and your pathway. And so that's why I say, focus on trying to get letters from faculty members that know how you've done in your coursework, who may have advised you in different aspects of your current academic career. Don't get one from your mom or from your the boss that you have from your pizza delivery job or something like that. If you have to, go and get a reference like that to be able to complete the application. But the idea is, you want to convince our reviewers who are going to look over your application that they have a good idea from the people that know how you have performed in your nuclear engineering coursework, how you'll actually do. And if you're in the fellowship space, there's also a criteria about how your proposed research aligns with the different aspects of the Office of Nuclear Energy mission, which I just outlined. So you'll notice right here, we've had both scholarship and fellowship awardees, I believe, from Missouri S&T over the years. Since 2009, close to $70 million awarded, over 700 scholarships, over 400 fellowships to 80 different U.S. universities and colleges in 33 different states. This is something that we're quite proud of, and that the program continues to expand for that reason. Now, you don't have to remember this right now. I'll send these slides to Dr. Newkirk, who can distribute them if to who needs them. But the website to go to is nup.gov. It's on the flyer that's in the middle of that table if you haven't grabbed one yet. And this is where you're going to find all the information about how to apply, what the requirements are, and actually get on the website to fill out the online application. And finally, if you're having trouble with that online application, feel free to reach out to Julie, myself, or Tyler. and we can help you out. Now, last but not least, when you look at when we talk about relevant disciplines, we include the following, and you'll see there's a long list here of a lot of engineering disciplines, even into the physics area, radiochemistry area, and even into the policy area. Office of Nuclear Energy does cover some social science topics, including what we call consent-based siting, which is a way of talking with communities about nuclear energy and nuclear storage and nuclear waste, and how that takes place. Those are viable areas for both undergraduate and graduate research, along with some others which you may not think about immediately, but computer science, cybersecurity, and some other areas like that, where we've got digital components in nuclear reactors, instrumentation and controls that all need to be protected, need to be designed. So those are all areas as well. Places that are not of interest to Office of Nuclear Energy. So just so everybody's aware that these are things that Office of Nuclear Energy does not work on, is medical physics, nuclear fusion, nuclear forensics, and environmental management. All four of those topic areas are covered by different offices in the government. And so when it comes to, kind of dividing up how all the research dollars go, those are areas that sit outside of our mission. All of these other areas sit within it. So if you're thinking you want to go to, you want to do something that may be cross-cutting for both fusion and fission, that's something you could talk about. But for our application and for the scholarship application, you want to focus on what you would plan to do in the fission nuclear energy space. Yeah, you had a question?
You guys at the process draw the line between like health physics and medical physics. Those are kind of closely related.
Yeah, that's a good question. And you'll notice all four of those, there's going to be a little bit of crossover, right? And so let me explain. When I talk about medical physics, I'm talking about medical isotopes and medical applications, right? So health physics and radiation protection are things that are included. They're part of, when you think about the need for workforce in a reactor environment, those are both pieces that are needed. It's just a question of, if you're shifting onto the side of medical applications, radiography, those types of things, isotope production, those types of things sit in that medical physics space, which is National Institutes of Health rather than the energy. Yep.
So maybe I'm not seeing on the list. Do you guys cover nuclear non-proliferation as well? Or?
We don't. So that's so when I say nuclear forensics, I'm talking about non-proliferation, and that is covered by the National Nuclear Security Administration. And so there are some radiation detection applications that are cross-cutting, right? When you think about, you have to be able to detect radiation in nuclear reactor environments. Those would be applications that would be applicable, or in recycling facilities, for example. Those are applications that would be specific to Office of Nuclear Energy. If you're talking about non-proliferation from a weapons or a detection standpoint, that sits outside of our mission and our scope. Yep. And there's arguments to be made about fusion as well. There's materials that are for high temperature advanced reactors and fusion that may have some crossover. It's really a question of, is your focus to go into fusion, or is it to go into advanced reactor materials, right? And so these arguments can be made in your career goals essay, but it should be clear when you write that you have made some type of decision in that space and can articulate it in that essay. That is not what I'm saying. So, but for any good scholarship writer, you need to understand who your audience is when you're writing anything, right? And so that's what I'll say on that specific topic. So, the rest of these slides are all just a listing of our UNLP approved universities and colleges. The reason why these are here in this slide deck is if you are considering graduate school, this gives you an idea of all the different other universities, including Missouri S&T, that have programs and that are approved as part of this program. And so we present it, we present this list to students all over the country so that they're aware that there's a variety of different schools that offer programs in these spaces. And so that's what's there for your reference if and when you need the slides. And so with that, that is a presentation that I have. And I'll open it up to see if we have any questions, any additional questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Graduate side of things, Dr. Joe kind of maybe do you guys like have any input on the journals that a graduate student submits their paper to?
So yeah, so we don't have control in those spaces. That's something that's reported to us about where they publish their work and those types of things. Ultimately, that's to highlight the student. And typically, for fellowships, they report on an annual basis about what their current work is, any changes that they've made, so that we can make sure that it's still aligned.
Okay, so there's not really like does it raise any flags basically, like in Dr. Newkirk's example, if the material you're working with is you do the research plan for fission, but then your material also happens to be relevant to fusion and you decide to publish in a fusion journal.
Yeah, and that
Anything, or is that kind of out of your control, or?
that's a good question. We haven't had a situation like that, so I couldn't necessarily comment on how we would deal with it, but I would assume that would probably be a concern where we would ask some questions about, hey, have you shifted into the fusion area, or yep. And there may be a good reason for that. It may be and it may be something we need to look into a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, the intention is, there's research support from the Office of Science and Fusion Energy. And so it's a question of how do we make sure that these dollars support the mission that they're supposed to, and how do those dollars support the mission that they're supposed to? And that provides opportunity for all students going into a bunch of different areas. So any other questions I can answer for anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Content-based citing consortium based here, we are just starting.
Mhm.
It's for 2 years.
Yep.
So if we were to engage some students, they won't be able to finish PhD within a year.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be a possibility that one of these students were to join in that and then apply and hopefully get one to continue?
As long as they're first or second year graduate students. So, yep. So if they're rising seniors or they're first year graduate students when they apply, those are really the restrictions. So you just have to target, they'd have to be relatively early in that 2-year process to make sure that they're eligible. So I will mention, that there is, especially for this scholarship program, there is a high level of support from the Department of Energy for this scholarship program. We typically give out about 70 scholarships, but just to give you an idea about how much support there is, we gave out 99 scholarships last year, and the department looks for scholarship funding in those spaces to be able to support as many qualified students as we get. So the point I'll try to emphasize with all of you is, if you meet the minimum requirements, it's worth your time to pursue a couple of reference letters and to write this career goal essay to get a little additional support. This $10,000 can be used not only for tuition, but can also be used for living expenses, transportation, food, all of the other things that you need to be able to support you to go to college. Can be used for books. And so it does give you quite a bit of flexibility, even if you do have your tuition covered, to maybe drop that part-time job or something else. Make mom and dad happy, right? If they're covering those expenses for you. So and of course it's amazing to put on a resume when you look at DOE sponsored scholarship or fellowship. These are prestigious awards and they are great to put on a resume. So
How many applications do you get for, like how many are awarded versus how many you receive?
yeah, the success rate is high. And so it depends on the year. But for applicants that qualify for the grant or for the scholarship, I'm just trying to think of what that would actually be. We're talking about more than half definitely, maybe even more than that if I broke down all the numbers. But like I said, high success rate. There's a lot of money available to go to these scholarships, and they're heavily supported by the department. So I'd encourage anybody who has motivation in that space to go for it. And Tyler, Julie, myself are here to help you through that process. If you're not familiar with the federal funding process, it shouldn't be too hard for you. So, any other questions? I was gonna say these guys. Yeah, these guys are all just thinking about exactly what they're going to put into their applications, which is why. Yeah. So. All right.
It's kind of a funny thing that people tell us about opportunities on the campus, and students kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to bother. I'm just curious, but if you were thinking of this and you have good questions, you need any at all, come to see Angelica and I, and we'll actually help you.
Mhm.
With the application. Don't be intimidated in any way. Just be motivated that there's some really good money here for you, and thank God you're in this this discipline that
Yep.
there's this kind of support here. So take advantage.
Yep.
Bring this to my freshman. They get excited.
Yeah.
Okay, to add on to Dr. Newkirk for the undergrad here, the worst they can do is say no,
Yeah.
right? So it's worth it to apply, you know, otherwise you're either getting 10 grand or you're not getting 10 grand. It's not like by not applying, you have another opportunity there, right? So if you apply, you can get one.
Yeah.
And with the better than 50% approval rate, that's a good odds.
There's one undergrad we have that's gotten like every year. Eli and I were talking about him. He's applied every year since the sophomore and gotten it every year. So.
Yep. Yeah. For those of us who have worked for a long time, this is probably the least amount of work for $10,000 that you'll probably ever do. So, it's one of those things to keep in that space as well. But it really truly is a reflection of how important this industry is, how important the Department of Energy thinks that nuclear energy will be in the future. And it's a reflection of that. And that's, I think that's really what I'd like y'all to take away from it, is that's why the money's here, and that's why the support is for all of you. And we hope you take the opportunity to join as an NEUP sponsored scholar and keep up the good work. So.
Let me ask you about that.
Yep.
Is that hard?
That's hard. Yep.
What if your GPA raises that level? Maybe if you
Well, whenever you submit your transcript, it should be at that level, right? And so I think there's a recognition that there's a lot of reasons why you might not have a 3.0. Yeah, I mean, that's what we found is, from a competitiveness standpoint, you need that GPA or higher to really be competitive. So in the space. And so that's why we've set it there. And yeah, if it's not there, there's maybe some good motivation here to get it up a little bit. So.
And if it drops?
And if it drops afterward, that's something that we don't necessarily consider.
But it's your so
That's right. It wouldn't be eligible the next year. That's right. That's right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's right.
Is there consideration for an undergrad, the difference between an in-department GPA and out-of-department GPA?
There isn't, but it's an argument that could be made, depending on, where you're at. Well, yeah, that's something that I would talk with Julie or Tyler about, because that would require pre-approval before you just spend the time. Before you spend the time. I don't know that it would be possible or not, but I guess the point is we would entertain the question. We would need to walk through it with our DOE sponsors and settle on something. So, but yeah, I don't want to say no until we've vetted that whole thing with, I don't want to sit here and say no individually when I'd like to talk with DOE sponsorship, before we do that. I'm telling you, there's a chance. So, yeah, there we go. Movie quote of the day. So, anything else?
Our students do have OURE opportunity, and schools may not have it, for OURE
The opportunity for the graduate research.
opportunity for undergraduate education.
Uh-huh.
So having said that, embedding that in their write-up, will that keep giving them an edge that in addition to just taking courses as an undergraduate?
Yeah.
They will have some exposure to research?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's any type of undergraduate research experience is something I would definitely highlight in whether that's reference letters or in my own essay. I would definitely highlight that opportunity because you're right, it is unique and there are undergraduate individuals across the nation that do get research experience, but it's relatively unique. It's not, we see less of that than, it's a much smaller portion of the overall pool. So know that.
The OURE program actually has proposed something that you selected.
Yeah.
So it's even beyond just working with professor.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that would be something to highlight for sure. That's an accomplishment as an undergraduate for sure. So, let me just make sure. I just want to make sure I don't have any questions online. Looks like we're okay. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we thank our speakers today.
All right. Yeah, thank you all for being here.